Torah isn't just laws and stories. It's a spotlight pointing to Jesus. Genesis, the promised seed. Exodus, the Passover lamb. Leviticus, the high priest. Numbers, the living water. Deuteronomy, the prophet greater than Moses. From the beginning to the end, the Torah whispers Jesus in the Torah.
Shalom, everybody. Welcome to this week's journey through Torah. This week we're in Parsha Beshalach, which is in Exodus 13:17 to 17:16. We come to some really confrontational things in this portion. We see Israel really coming up to the place with their backs against the wall, or back against the wall of water, as it were. We're going to talk about a few things in relationship about this. But before we get to that, I want to bring out a point of prophecy and restoration, and some things that the Father is doing. We're going to point to some things regarding Yeshua here today, and some things regarding you and gathering together the people of Yahweh from all over the world and bringing them out and redeeming them and bringing them to Himself. Remember, we talked about Exodus, Shema, when we first started this. Redemption is the underlying theme throughout this entire book. Okay, and redemption is not just, I'm going to bring you out. He brings them out, brings them through the water, brings them to the mountain to reveal Himself and His word, His presence to them, to equip them to carry His presence with them into the promise. All of this is a picture of redemption. It's not just saying, I'm going to bring you out and then set you free to run and do whatever. No, it's a path of discipleship. We follow Him, literally. Okay, so what we see is they were following Yahweh in a cloud and fire, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, all right? But before we get to that, I want to talk about another fulfillment of prophecy that we see when Moshe and Israel came out of Mitzrayim. It says that they brought Joseph's bones with them. Now, believe it or not, because of this, we see the hope in the working of a prophecy. And this ties into all those who were Israel, who were scattered abroad, being brought back into a place of reconciliation, which, guys, if you go back and read John 11:49 to 52, we see that Caiaphas, the high priest that year, was prophesying that specifically of Yeshua, that who would regather in the children of God who were scattered abroad. We see a picture of this prophesied in Joseph's bones being brought back and returned into the land. Okay, let's go to Exodus 13:19. So Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones away hence with you. So Joseph was saying, Yahweh will visit you. And when He does, you're to take my bones, gather them up, and take them with you. Why was it so important to Joseph that they take his bones with them when they come out? I mean, what would it matter? He was buried. What difference does it make? He's not there anymore, right? It's just the bones. But believe it or not, this shows a greater picture here. Okay? This shows a picture of Joseph being gathered up in redemption and restoration for all Israel, being joined together as one, going into the land, going into the promise. And we see part of this going into Ezekiel 37 as well. But before we get there, let's take a look at this. Yahweh will visit you, and you will bring the bones of Joseph to the land. Now let's go back and take a look at what was promised. Genesis 50, verses 24 to 26. Joseph says to his brothers, I'm about to die, and God will visit you and bring you up out of this land, the land He swore to Abraham, to Yitzhak, and Yaakov. Then Joseph made the sons of Israel swear, saying, God will surely visit you, and you shall carry up my bones from there. So Joseph died, being 110 years old. They embalmed him, and he was put in the coffin in Egypt. So consider what was going on in this place. Consider what Joseph would have thought, and what this would have meant to the people and the Egyptians. I mean, everything back in this time, right? A person's burial place also serves as a focus for any ongoing care and remembrance after death. Okay, in the Zondervan Bible Backgrounds Commentary, it states this: the request to be buried in Canaan serves as an indication that he sees the future of his descendants connected to the covenant land, a statement of faith in God's promise to bring his family back there. So he was saying by taking his bones to the land, he was showing an affirmation of promise. Yahweh will visit you, and you will take my bones there. There's again showing the connection to a covenant land and a covenant promise of what Yahweh said He would do. Now we go forward. Let's go to Ezekiel 47, verses 21 and 23. So you will divide the land according to the tribes of Israel, and it shall come to pass that you shall divide it by lot for an inheritance unto you, and to the strangers that sojourn among you, which shall beget children among you. And they shall be unto you as born in the country among the children of Israel, and they shall have inheritance with you among the tribes of Israel. And it shall come to pass that in what tribe the stranger sojourns, there you will give him his inheritance, says the Lord God. So again, he's saying there are people who are not born natural descendants of Israel, but would come in to be a part of the people of Israel, and Israel was divided by tribe. And so he says, whatever tribe the people come in, gather in, and be a part of, and take life and work together in, consider them part of the tribe. Bring them in, and they will be counted just as much as someone who was naturally born. Now, another picture of a gathering together and bones and these different things being done is in the Psalms. Psalm 22, it's often considered a psalm that's related to the crucifixion, right? Well, this is prophetic of Yeshua, but also prophetic of a regathering of all Israel as well. In Psalm 22:14, it says, I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. And we know none of his bones were broken. None of Yeshua's bones were broken when he was done, put on that cross, right? But he says, my bones are out of joint. So it's etzem, or is the word for bones. Interesting, the word etzem is the same word where we get a bones, a tree, stick, all have the same root, etz. And so he says, my bones are out of joint. Harad means either divided or disconnected. So it translates as out of joint. So what we see is that in Yeshua and the work of redemption that he has provided for us, these bones that are out of joint can come back and become one people. See, that's part of his redemption that he did for us. Matthew 15:24, Yeshua said, I was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Galatians 3:14 says that Yeshua did what he did so that the blessing of Abraham might come to the nations through Yeshua, that we might receive the promise of the Spirit through faith. Ephesians 5:30 says we are members of his body and flesh and of his bones. See that? We are members of his body. His bones are out of joint. His bones are disconnected. They're all over the place. But yet, in him, we are to be restored and brought in to be one people. And we see pictures of this over and over again. You are the body of Messiah. 1 Corinthians 12:12 says, and as the body is one, has many members, but all the members of that one body being many are one body, so also is the Messiah. So we see a picture of the bones coming together. We also see this in Ezekiel 37, verses 1 through 5, and talks about the valley that was full of bones. And again, the word valley is it's the same word that here it's like it's something that is split, something that is divided, something that is split up, and it's full of bones. And what happens? When the bones start to hear Shema, the words that they start to hear and to obey, then the bones start to do what they're commanded to do and draw together to be one people, standing up as one community of Yahweh, the whole house of Israel, one people coming in together. So we see a picture of all, no matter where they are, being scattered all over the place, being disconnected and divided, but yet when the Spirit of Yahweh moves, we will come together as one, and we will all stand as one people in the land of Israel. So then Ezekiel 37:4 and 5 says, prophesy over these bones and say to them, dry bones, hear the word of Yahweh. Thus says the Lord God to these bones, behold, I will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live. See that? The Ruach flowing will cause breath to enter you, and you shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and you shall live, and you will know that I am Yahweh. So the bones that are disconnected, they have to be held together by something. The body, flesh. They have to be held together. You know, the bones, even if it's in the same proximity, it cannot be considered part of that skeleton unless it's attached, okay? So the body, the bones coming together as one, see, it's like us. We can't be the body if we choose to remain disconnected from it. We have to come together as one people and be part of the body and be willing to have his Spirit, receive of his Spirit, receive of his presence, receive of what he's telling us to do, Shema, and that is to stand as one people in him and in his name. We see another picture of this in Ephesians 4:11 through 16, where it basically says we have all different functions within the body. No one is better than anybody else. No one's worse than anybody else. But we have functions within the body to help us keep focused on the important things, and help keep us focused so we can move forward into the promises that Yahweh has for us, helping us to mature and to grow up in the faith. Verse 16 says, from whom the whole body fitly joins together and compacted by that which every joint supplies, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, makes the increase of the body into the edifying of itself in love. Again, building up the body, keeping the focus where it needs to be. It's on Yeshua, and keeping us working together as one people. So we start to see some more issues that are going on here. Okay, when they come out of Mitzrayim and they get to a place of hardship, they start complaining to Moshe. Moshe, you brought us out here to die, which we see through the 40 years they were in the wilderness. They did this over and over again, right? But their focus is on the wrong thing. Yes, they were following Moshe, but yet who was Moshe following? And it was not blind. They saw this. It was following the cloud, right? Following the pillar of fire. They were following Yahweh. But because, Moshe was the one who was speaking, Moshe is the one who got the blame when things got hard and things got difficult, right? No, they were not following Moshe. They were following Yahweh. And so when things got difficult, when they started complaining and doing things, they took it out on Moshe because there he was. So the question is, for us in our life, what are we following? Are we following Yahweh? Are we working with the people, the body? Are we working with one another to help establish what Yahweh is wanting us to do here, and to walk with Him and to be His people and to go into the promise and to live in a way that blesses not just each other, the community, but blesses the world? Or are we too busy complaining about each other because we're in a tight spot? See, a couple things here. They're following Yahweh. And in that, are they following a cloud or are they following the fire? And the answer is both. From what I've seen, it's kind of the picture here is in the day, there was this cloud. And then at night, the fire was there, so they could see the fire. So I believe that in the daytime, I believe they were both there. The fire and the cloud were both present. But as the sun went away, they could see the fire through the cloud. Okay, then so how does this play? Well, Exodus 13, 21 and 22 says, Adonai went before them in a pillar of cloud by day to lead the way, and in a pillar of fire by night to give them light so they could travel both day and night. So, I used to think many years ago that it was like, okay, so there was this cloud, and then at some point when the sun started to go down, it would transition and it would be this fire. But since then, I've come to think that no, they were both present. They were both there. The cloud and the fire was both there at the same time. Yahweh was revealing Himself in two different ways to the people of Israel, but they were both present right there. One of the things I see by this is the next verse 22, a pillar of cloud by day, the pillar of fire by night, never departed from the people, implying that they were both there all the time. Okay? And then in Exodus 14:19 says, the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them. Also, the pillar of cloud moved from in front and stood behind them. So the pillar of cloud moved and stood behind them, but the fire didn't. Stuff to think about, right? So what we have here is a picture. Okay, so it was the angel of Yahweh, it was the angel of God at the head of Israel. But we also see that it was the pillar of cloud that led them in. But we also see that Yahweh was in the cloud. And these are all statements, a picture of a divine manifestation in different ways. See, this is all different things of showing this is Yahweh, but they're revealing itself in different manners. Even to the idea of, so the angel of Yahweh went behind the camp, and with that went the cloud. Okay, but where'd the fire go? And so the people were still going forward. All these things were still happening. Okay, so they were following both. They were following the cloud and the fire, and they were following Yahweh who was in the midst of them. Right? So again, we see this in Exodus 13, 21 and 22, we just read. So he went before them in the pillar of cloud by day to lead them, the pillar of fire by night to give them light, so they could travel both day and night. And the pillar of cloud by day, the pillar of fire by night, never departed from the people. Numbers 9, 15 and 16, we see another picture of this, where it says, on the day that the tabernacle was erected, the cloud covered the tabernacle by evening until morning. The cloud above the tent of the testimony had an appearance like fire. In that way, it continually, the cloud covered it, and by night it appeared like fire. So again, we see a further picture here where the cloud was always there, the fire was always there, signifying the presence of Yahweh is there. But at different times, the presence of Yahweh would manifest Himself in a way of this is what the children of Israel needed at this time. Now think about it. During the day in the heat, they could use the cloud to kind of give them a little bit of a cloud cover, a little break from the sun, a little break from the heat, a little bit of a shading even, right? And then at night, guys, it gets cold in the desert at night. So the fire was a good thing, right? Not just giving light to the people so they could see, but also giving warmth to the camp so that in the desert they wouldn't freeze out there, right? So this is different ways that Yahweh was revealing himself to his people to give them what they needed when they needed it. And guys, that's something that we learn constantly and all the time. Okay, so going back, Exodus 14:10. So here they are. They're at the water and they're kind of locked in, and Pharaoh is approaching. And then the people of Israel look and they see the Egyptians right there coming after them. And in great fear, the people of Israel cries out to Adonai. Okay, in great fear, I mean, wouldn't you be? I mean, granted, all these things that you've seen and experienced and everything else, right? But you're also looking up and you're seeing the ones that you fled from coming after you, and they're going to kill you. You're put in a situation where you're either going to look out or look up, and which one's it going to be, right? And so at that point, they even spoke against what Yahweh did for them. Moses, you brought us out here again to die. You brought us out here to die. We should have just died in Egypt, right? No. So again, be careful about that, because fear can keep you a slave to the world, and fear can also cause you to say things that you really don't need to say. And just be careful of those things, right? Exodus 14:13. So Moshe answers the people after they're crying out and they're saying, we should have just, kept on being there with the Egyptians. We could have just kept being slaves for them, and it was better for us to do that. Now we're going to come out and die in the desert. And okay, no. And Moshe basically tells them, settle down. But he actually says it a little more stern than that. Let's see what happens here. Okay. So Moshe answers the people, stop being so fearful, remain steady, and you will see how Adonai is going to save you. He will do it today. Today you have seen the Egyptians, but you will never see them again. This is amazing, because he's telling the people to stand still, to stop. Don't be so fearful. Remain steady. Have faith, and you will see how Adonai is going to save you. It's Uru et Yeshua Yahweh, and stand and you will see and experience the salvation of Yeshua, the salvation of Yahweh. And this is what he's telling them, to stand still and don't let the fear keep you out of seeing and experiencing the salvation that Yahweh has for you. 2 Timothy 1:7 says, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power of love and of a sound mind. Psalm 46:10 and 11 says, be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen. I will be exalted in the earth. Yahweh Sabaoth is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. In Isaiah 35:4 says, say to those with fearful hearts, be strong and do not fear, for your God is coming to destroy your enemies. He is coming to save you. So the next verse, Exodus 14:14, it says, Yahweh will fight for you and you will hold your peace. And we kind of think, that's a nice poetic way of putting it, right? Yahweh will fight for you and you just hold your peace. It's not exactly the way it reads, guys. The word there to hold your peace is charash, and the Hebrew literally means to be deaf and dumb. Hold your peace. Be quiet. You just don't say another word. Don't speak another word. Hold your tongue. He's telling him to shut their mouth. Just shut up. Stop it right now. Don't say another word, okay? And then, next verse 15. So he's there. He says, stand still and see the salvation of Yahweh. And then Moshe looks up to Yahweh. It's like, now what? Okay, you got us here. You led us here. What's going to happen next? So Adonai says to Moshe, real amazing response. Why are you crying to me? Wow, that seems kind of harsh, doesn't it? I mean, has Yahweh ever answered any of your prayers like that? When you cry out, Yahweh, I'm going to die, literally. Something needs to happen here. And Yahweh says, what do you want me to do about it? Really? But consider the bigger picture here. Yahweh said, tell the people of Israel to go forward. In other words, when they got to the water, I didn't tell you to stop. See, that's one of the things that we need to learn, is we need to have consistency and constancy in our, if that's a word, in our faith and in our daily lives with Yahweh. That's why it says we will reap if we don't give up. You never know where that next step is going to take us, but don't give up. Okay, continue. Keep on. We need to find the encouragement where we can. We need to lift each other up and encourage one another to keep looking toward Yahweh. But at the same time, don't stop walking. If you just fall down and stay there, you're never going to get anywhere. But sometimes it's that step of faith to be walking. Some of the midrashes say that the water didn't part until the first person got in the water about this high. The idea is take a step of faith. Literally, take a step of faith. I didn't tell you to stop walking. Go. And are we going to do that same? Are we going to follow the cloud? Are we going to follow the fire? Even when it gets hard? Philippians 3:13-16 says, forgetting what is behind me and straining forward toward what lies ahead. I keep pursuing the goal in order to win the prize offered by God's upward calling in Messiah Yeshua. Therefore, as many of us are mature, let us keep paying attention to this. And if you are differently minded about anything, God will also reveal this to you. Only let our conduct fit the level that we have already received. Learning to walk together, grow up in a place of maturity, learning to walk together, and learning to help each other out in the times when it's difficult to have faith, right? Isaiah 52:11-12 says, get out, leave your captivity where everything you touch is unclean. Get out from there and purify yourselves, you who carry home the sacred objects of Yahweh. You will not leave in a hurry, running for your lives, for Yahweh will go ahead of you. Yes, the God of Israel will protect you from behind. Again, we have a picture of Yahweh going before you and protecting behind you as well, just like he did Israel when they came out of Mitzrayim. So Exodus 14:19-20. So again, the angel of God who was going before the host of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud moved from before them and stood behind them, coming between the host of Egypt and the host of Israel. And there was a cloud in the darkness, and it lit up the night without one coming near the other all night. So he separated again the darkness and the light, and separated again the people of Israel and the people of Mitzrayim. See, to those who were pursuing Israel, there was darkness and there was thick cloud, but yet he gave light to Israel so that they could cross. So Israel, they go through the water, and again we see the picture of them that symbolizes like a mikvah, like a baptism. They go through the water. It's redeemed you, bring them out. They go through the water, and then they go to the mountain to see the presence of Yahweh and have his word given to them and be equipped to go forward and carry his presence with them into the promise. That's what they were given there to do. So they go into the water. Pharaoh and his crew don't come out. We see in 1 Corinthians 10:1-2, for I want you to know, brothers, that our fathers were all under the cloud and all passed through the sea, and all were baptized into Moshe in the cloud and in the sea. Again, were we following Moses or were we following Yahweh? Because Moshe was following Yahweh, right? Which leads me into this. Yeshua says, if you believe what Moshe wrote, you would believe me, because what he wrote was about me, right? So let's consider this for a moment. How can we say, no, I want to believe what Yeshua said, but I'm not going to believe anything that Moshe wrote. I don't need to worry about anything that Moshe wrote. Moshe was following Yahweh, and he was writing instructions for life for the people of Yahweh. And Yeshua says, the things that Moshe wrote was about me. So why would we say, no, we don't want that? And so Yeshua says, if you believe Moshe, you would believe what I'm telling you. So if we want to believe what Yeshua says, then we have to believe what Moshe wrote. And it works the other way around too. We believe what Moshe wrote, we should believe what Yeshua said. These two things do not contradict. These two things do not oppose each other. Are we following the pillar and the fire, the cloud, the presence of Yahweh, or not? And if we are, then we need to heed the words that were given to us to walk in and for life. The children of Israel were following the presence of Yahweh through the wilderness. We read in the Brit Hadashah where people were following the presence of Yahweh and Yeshua through the wilderness. It's a picture that's very similar, guys. If he redeems you, then you follow him, and you walk with him, and you learn his ways. It's not a matter of like people were following Yeshua, and the ones who were following him were just combating him all the time. They wanted to learn. Even though, they messed up, but they wanted to learn. What are we doing? Are we following him and learning to walk in his ways? Or we're saying, okay, now that I'm redeemed, I'm going to walk my own way and turn around and go back to face Pharaoh and everybody else that's coming against us. If you're going to follow him, keep following him. Don't turn back. Don't turn away. Keep pursuing the heart of the Father. Okay? Well, that's all I have for you today, guys. I pray this has been a blessing to you and encouraged you. You've been challenged a little bit too, right? And if this has, then please share it. If this has blessed you, it's going to bless somebody else. So whatever avenue you watch or you listen to these, please share them to help get them out there, okay? And if this has been a blessing to you, then please also consider giving a donation to help us continue making these. We can only do that because you help us to do so, right? There are costs involved with doing this and putting this out there on an ongoing basis, and you help us to keep that going. So thank you, and may Yahweh bless you in the midst of all of that, right? And until next time, pray a blessing for you. May you be blessed. May you be a blessing. And shalom.
Thank you for watching Jesus in the Torah. If you would like, subscribe, and share these teachings with your friends. For more resources, please visit HFF.church and visit our campuses in Oklahoma City and Dallas on Saturdays. Remember, everything points to Jesus.